Did you have to break our informant's arm?
He touched my hair. Twice. He got a warning the first time.
Will you ever stop being protective over your wig? Because of you, we lost our only lead to Veridis' current whereabouts.
First off, never. Second off, maybe we didn't lose our lead after all.
Oh, really? How so?
That's her right over there.
By golly. You're right. After her.
Crap! She escaped again!
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Boss, what are you doing?
I'm copying her portal spell while it's been freshly cast.
Scans say her portal was set for a world called Hetre. It appears to be a primitive medieval world populated with magical creatures. Man, she really has a type.
Wait, let me see. Gadzooks! That's the Persevere's world! I must go and help him right now.
Sir Persevere? Oh, you mean Speckles' sidekick?
He's not as... Oh, I don't have time to discuss this. I've got to go, now.
I'll stay here in case Veridis comes back through this portal.
Good idea. Because this might be her only way out of Sir Persevere's world, if memory serves me correctly.
Well, Godspeed, boss. Give Speckles and his human sidekick my regards.
He is not his...
Greetings, most gracious audience. I am Sir Persevere, Knight of Taysar.
And I am Speckles, a salamander of Taysar and Sir Persevere's talking animal sidekick.
Today, I think we shall finally begin the project I had been meaning to begin ever since we started this channel several years ago.
Is it what I think it is?
Quite possibly, my amphibious friend. But before I announce the project, I wish to address the elephant in the room. The last time I was on here, I had posted a video to YouTube announcing Queen Hivemind's rap video on Rumble. For reasons unknown to me, that little video skyrocketed in views for several days. Whereas it has taken my Marvel video more than a month to reach about 80 views, this tiny inconsequential video announcing Queen Hivemind's villainy got more than 200 views in just a few days. It has since leveled off, but that small video persuaded several new subscribers to hop on board. And for however brief of a period of time, our channel actually hit 100 subscribers for the first time. Unfortunately, YouTube is a fickle beast, and before I could go ahead and make a special thank you video for the milestone that we had reached, our subs dipped back down to 99. So we'll likely wait until we reach 110 subscribers before finally putting out the long-anticipated thank you video.
5 years of content creation. You'd think we'd have 2,000 subscribers by now, at least.
Fret not, Speckles. All good things come to those who wait. Not everyone can be a Jeremy, Gary, or even an Odin. Besides, it's not like we put out a video every day or every week. A channel like mine attracts a very specific audience. And if that's the audience that God chooses to entrust to us, then I am content. But you're right, Speckles. It would personally be a boost to my morale if our subscriber counts suddenly skyrocketed and we made it into the big leagues of content creators. But life is so much more than chasing numbers. Making videos should always be viewed as a privilege, not a right, after all.
Here, my good sir. Shall we proceed with the announcement? I'm dying to hear what it is.
But of course, today... Wait a minute. There's something in the air. Can you feel it, Speckles?
I sense a great disturbance in the cyberspace.
There's some kind of dimensional rift occurring. Hang on tight, Speckles. There's no predicting what's going to happen.
Help! I'm going to throw up!
Ugh! My head is splitting!
You don't think this is the work of Harvey Cthulhu, do you?
No, our realm is specifically protected against the attacks of that interdimensional eldritch being. Even if he does escape from his containment field on Earth with the push of the button, we're quite safe on our own planet Hetre. Whew, finally, thank God it stopped.
What's going on here? Remember that one time when Countess Rose drew a picture of us?
Yes,
Well, now we look like the picture.
so we do. And you still have your tongue sticking out.
Can you blame me? I'm still queasy from the effects of whatever happened just now.
I suppose you have a point.
I thought you said there was some kind of dimensional rift occurring. All I see are the two of us. Shouldn't there be, I don't know, alternate versions of us running around or something? Or maybe even a Speckles verse?
We don't belong in a multiverse, Speckles. There is only one Sir Persevere in all reality, and I'm it. No, I suspect that our reality lined up with someone else's reality, and the art style of our reality adjusted accordingly. Our reality was created by the Nerdy Knight, but there are billions of other realities created by billions of other people across planet Earth. I have the suspicion that we're about to receive a visitor from another dimension, and our reality adjusted to receive him, or her.
Who is that? He resembles Overlord DVD with his red tunic and helmet.
Oh, but it's someone far better than Overlord DVD. It's Stryker, also known as Time Travel Master. You remember him, don't you? We've had plenty of conversations with him in the land of Discord.
I thought he'd be a little taller. Anyway, I think Stryker could have been a little bit more original with his outfit. If Overlord DVD ever finds this video, he might go after our friend for taking too much inspiration from his wardrobe selection.
From what I understand, Stryker based his appearance on Warhammer 40k with the Imperial Guard faction.
Either way you cut it, I think Overlord DVD and the Warhammer people will be going after Stryker for ripping off their designs. Is he trying to get a copyright strike? Hey, maybe he is. Maybe he's trying to live up to his name. Maybe the striking Stryker wants to get strikes, and then it'll be 3 strikes and he's out.
I'm quite sure that Stryker's outfit is original enough that no one will be going after him. Besides, Time Travel Master hasn't even put out a video on his dead channel, so who's going to give him a strike over Stryker's outfit? Stryker, please forgive my amphibian friend. Once he starts his little pontifications, it's hard to get him to stop.
Hey, I'm just trying to watch out for our friend here. Maybe he should consider getting a green tunic next time. Don't blame me if our video gets struck by Overlord DVD or Warhammer 40k. Of course, I don't think Overlord DVD is vindictive enough to take that kind of action. But Warhammer 40k could and would if they knew.
It's fine. Good to see you again, Speckles. Lassida sends her regards to you.
Oh shucks, if I could blush, I would.
Okay. With that finally out of the way, shall we start our collab now that you've dropped by?
I would love to. But before we start, out of curiosity, have you seen a green dragon lately?
No? Why?
No reason.
But what about the announcement we were going to make before the dimensional rift happened?
We can deal with that later. Based on our conversations on Discord, I assume you wish to review the YouTube video known as Reversal of the Heart?
Really? You want to go ahead with it now?
Well, yes. Since you're here anyway, I figured we could go ahead and review it together. You have been waiting ever so patiently to do a collaboration video, particularly one where we review that animated short film.
Alright, I thought you would never ask. Let me start out by saying I absolutely love anything and everything to do with dragons. To quote Shadowversity, but what about dragons? Ever since I was a little boy, I remember watching Maleficent from Disney's Sleeping Beauty turn to that horrifying, majestic dragon, and I've been hooked on dragons ever since. So to no one's surprise, this 12-year-old dragon animation, Reversal of the Heart, holds a very special place in my heart. No pun intended. So let's do a deep dive into it, shall we?
Ah, Sleeping Beauty. A film that's near and dear to my heart. Though I loved dragons well before I saw that movie. And it's not just Maleficent I love. It's the classic animation of Sleeping Beauty that has become a rare breed in the modern pop culture. For those of us who wish for the day that classic animation becomes great again, hope comes in several forms. As I have famously pointed out time and again, James Lopez is preparing to release his long-anticipated project known as Hullabaloo, while Justin Murphy is working on his Dogtown film in tangent with his War Party comics. These, along with the most recently released Lackadaisy, were made possible with the help of crowdfunding. Another method that breathes a spark of hope into classic animation comes in the form of major studio backing, most notably Warner Brothers. Such companies are looking at traditional animation and starting to integrate it once more into their productions moving forward, with Primal and Looney Tunes being prime examples. And finally, there are numerous content creators who bravely go it alone, spend months or years animating a project on their own time and dime, and then release it to platforms like YouTube for free. Of such content creators, my highest praise goes to Dragon Fox Girl, the mistress of YouTube animation.
Yeah, whatever happened to that video? Are we going to make that review of her Spider and the Butterfly project or what? She deserves a video from us, you know.
Patience, Speckles. Patience. If God does not come back within the next 5 years, we should be able to get around to it. As I was saying, there are many such content creators in addition to Dragon Fox Girl. One such animator is Carolyn Chrisman, the author of the video which Stryker, Speckles, and I are reviewing today. The most notable work created by her is none other than Reversal of the Heart. Sadly, it appears that after having created this magnum opus, Carolyn's animation career slowly fizzled out over the course of 2 years, which culminated in a channel that has been dead for over 10 years. Whether her Fiddle Griff channel will ever return on a content creator basis is anyone's guess. But at least we can always look fondly back on the work that she put into this short story video. And now, without further ado, let us begin reviewing Reversal of the Heart. Our story begins with the opening title, Reversal of the Heart. I love the animation effort put into revealing the title. It looks ethereal with the little floating purple pixies. The first scene opens up on a mountainous region. A dragon silhouetted in black emerges from the shadows and seats herself upon the cliff. Her eyes glow blood red.
It's not just her eyes. What's going on with her chest? It looks like her heart is not only exposed to the elements, but glowing red too. Was she born with some birth defect? She makes me think of that albino turtle who also has an exposed heart. I mean, if the dragons in this world have exposed hearts unprotected by bone, flesh, and iron hide scales, then they're especially vulnerable to attacks of any kind. She's just as bad off as General Grievous. With someone like her, all you have to do is shoot a fiery dart into her heart, and then watch the fireworks of her eyes burning in their sockets.
Oh, we'll get to what's going on with that dragon's heart. Believe that.
True enough, Critical Striker. Anyway, this dragon with her glowing red eyes and heart is sitting on the cliff. As she sits there, I note that her design is reminiscent of Disney's own Maleficent dragon. However, her legs are a bit like toothpicks. Actually, you'll quickly find out that toothpick legs are a very common design choice in this short film. But we'll save that little rant for later. She swivels her head as she is joined by her child, with this little dragon glowing purple in the eyes. As Speckles has noted, the baby dragon was also born with his mother's genetic defect of an exposed and unprotected heart. The mother dragon then looks out toward the landscape again.
I think the mama dragon is about to tell her little child, "Look, Simba, everything the light touches is our kingdom." Okay, not really. But you gotta admit, sure looks like Caroline took inspiration from the Lion King with this scene.
It is certainly plausible. We then zoom in on the mother dragon's profile, and I note that Caroline has a charming way of animating the eyes. The mother dragon then lovingly nuzzles her little offspring, and as she does so, we can now see for the first time that there seems to be a pattern with the exposed hearts, as if there were a method to the madness of having such a vital organ vulnerable to the elements. For there is a dark ring of black around both their glowing hearts. The little baby dragon then saunters off on his own little legs before smiling at his mother.
He looks like a little ram. Going with a sheepish design is not the approach I would have taken with a baby dragon. And look at that muzzle! It's way too short. Mammals might be born with shorter faces in proportion to their adult forms, but reptiles are basically born as miniature adults. I say in proportion to his body, his snout should be, I don't know, twice as long as it is in this video.
That is a fair criticism. Still, it does not negate the adorable moment of a little baby dragon being able to look up to his mother for love and protection.
Yeah, about that.
We'll get there, Speckles. Don't go jumping the crossbow on us.
Sorry.
Anyway, the mother dragon lovingly looks back at her little offspring before flying away and leaving the little dragon to fend for himself. The little dragon goes to the edge of the cliff and sees his mother off.
After the mother dragon's departure, the adorable baby dragon starts chasing a butterfly. No, Speckles, you may not eat that butterfly. Let the child have its fun.
Well, you're a regular killjoy. Fine, I won't eat it right now. It was likely toxic anyway.
The baby dragon chases the beautiful insect back into the cave where it lives with its mother. The butterfly briefly lands on its glowing chest before flying away from the cave. In that moment, the joy of a butterfly landing on its chest is the last happy moment the little wormling will ever have in its life. Little does the poor wormling realize it's being followed back into its cave. Is it someone who's going to say, "Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?"
Just the opposite, my friend. You can hear a sword being pulled from its sheath, and it isn't the word of God either.
By golly, it's an evil knave! Wait a minute, how did the mother dragon not smell this incoming intruder?
I suspect she was careless. The armed intruder then pursues the little dragon with murderous intent. The little dragon tries to escape, but his attempts are futile. From over the distance, the mother dragon can sense her little one is in mortal danger. The baby dragon is cornered, and you can see the look of helpless horror on his face.
Yep, the animator definitely designed this baby dragon to look like a scaly little ram. I question this design choice, given that reptiles don't resemble sheep at all.
Doubtlessly, Carolyn made this design choice to invoke sympathy in her audience for the little baby dragon. And why shouldn't she?
Anyway, the poor wormling gets cornered, and Anakin Skywalkered by the wretched coward. And then he takes the little dragon's heart as a trophy, which appears to be nothing more than a glowing gemstone.
I guess having a gemstone for a heart negates the need to have the heart planted directly in your flesh under bone and skin.
So much for the protective mother. If she hadn't left her child alone in the cave, this outcome probably wouldn't have happened.
In fairness, she most likely left her child in order to go hunt for food.
But more to the point, it appears that the objective of this intruder was simply to take a dragon's heart. What a coward! What? He didn't feel man enough to take on a fully grown dragon in an honorable duel to the death? He had to go and slaughter a baby dragon which had only just begun to experience the joys of life? Did he do all this just so he could return home and boast that he slew a dragon? Oh, sure, you slew a dragon, all right. A helpless, defenseless baby dragon that had no chance of fending for itself. Bravo! I'm sure everyone will be singing praises to your undaunted courage, you bloody coward!
I mean seriously, what a spineless jellyfish of a man. It infuriates me when I see someone killing a defenseless baby of any kind that can't fight back.
Well, if he were living in the modern society of Earth, he would be applauded as a hero by Jane Fonda. But your righteous wrath is well warranted, gentlemen. It is tragic what happened to the baby dragon. But to continue. The mother dragon returns to her cave after having sensed her child in danger. The look on her face is one of heartbreak and shock at the gruesome scene before her. In a moment reminiscent of the Iron Giant nudging Hogarth and thinking he was dead, this mother dragon likewise nudges her lifeless baby to no avail. Her eyes flame in resolute hatred for the perpetrator who slew her innocent child.
Oh boy, that dragon slayer done goofed. Hell hath no fury like a dragon robbed of her whelps. This is one of the reasons why you duel fully grown dragons in battles of honor and leave the babies alone. If you kill the grown-up, the helpless baby isn't going to be able to take revenge for at least a few years down the road, even if he survives orphanhood. This gives you time to prepare for the inevitable vengeful attack from the orphan dragon, and by then, it'll be more sporting.
Speckles, what's the matter with you? Why are you talking like that? We don't fight dragons here in this realm. Or not often, anyway. Rage on, the Lord Protector of all dragons, sees to that. Every dragon I know is a friend. Why on Hetre would I want to engage in a duel with a dragon when I have no quarrel with them?
Oh, I'm not actually condoning fighting a dragon. I'm just trying to outline a scenario where you could slay a dragon in a more honorable fashion that leaves your manhood intact.
Heh, tell that to Rage on. Anyway, the dragoness's eyes flare up with rage. Next, we see her flying toward what appears to be an inactive volcano which glows blue from the inside. Within the volcano, there appears to be a massive council of dragons. In the heart of the volcano sits a massive blue gem which is responsible for the glow of the mountain. She places her hand upon the gem.
The gem acts as a palantir from Lord of the Rings. The fiery eye of Sauron glares at her from within the gem and says, "I see you." Okay, that didn't happen. But it's still a cool magical crystal that can be used for reconnaissance. She uses said magical crystal to see where this evil knight went with the gemstone of her child. The gem reveals that the killer rides upon a noble steed. The baby's heart has been mounted on a piece of jewelry.
I know we already noted that the dragon's hearts are gems, But I just find that weird. How can these dragons be flesh and blood creatures with hearts made out of gems? The function of the heart is to pump blood, and a hardened gem isn't going to be able to perform that task. And furthermore, I find it even weirder to see someone taking a vital organ and making a piece of jewelry out of it. I mean, if someone tried to make a bloody earring out of my tiny amphibian heart, it would likely rot away to nothing in just a few days.
We're also dealing with a story that revolves around magic. Logic kind of goes out of the window when you're dealing with tales of transformative sorcery. Anyway, we see the slayer of the baby dragon riding toward a castle. The interior of the castle has some beautiful stained glass windows depicting an angel surrounded by dragons. Below these windows sits a princess on her throne.
The slayer kneels before the princess and offers her the necklace that has been mounted with the heart of the infant dragon. She is touched by said gift and proceeds to kiss him in thanks. If you actually knew what he did to get you that gift, princess, I would hope you would slap him silly and kick him to the curb.
Throughout this short film, there is absolutely no spoken dialogue beyond a few sound effects. At this point, it is my conjecture that this knight or prince told the princess that he had honorably battled and slain a ferocious dragon and harvested its heart as a show of his affection for her. In such a conversation, of course, he would be lying, for he didn't battle a ferocious dragon. He slaughtered an innocent baby dragon in cold blood without even giving it a chance to fend for itself.
And that's the part that bothers me most of all, Sir Persevere. He did all of this so he could give his girlfriend a new piece of jewelry. How about he prove his love to her by fighting a creature that can actually fight back?
Apparently, courage isn't part of his vocabulary, Striker. We go back to the mother dragon, who has witnessed all this with the aid of her Palantir gem. Her eyebrows once more furrow in fury. I mean, wouldn't you be angry too if someone killed your baby and made accessories out of him or her?
And she has every right to be angry after everything that has happened. Still, I wonder how she would react if her baby had died under different circumstances. Replace the knight with a ravenous wolf. Would the mother dragon still be seeking revenge if a fellow animal had killed the baby dragon for food?
Of course she would seek revenge. We would all try to avenge our children if they were eaten by animals. But perhaps some part of her deep within would understand that the wolf only killed her child for food and would likely have left the heart alone. She probably wouldn't be as vengeful under that circumstance. What this knight did in taking the baby's heart for a mere trinket and leaving the meat to waste was probably nothing less than an absolute insult and sacrilege to the dragons.
We need to move on, my friends. We go back to the castle where we see that it is now raining. This scene shows the princess in her room trying on her new gift. From afar, the mother dragon's eyes glow as she activates a curse. She is not amused that the princess is wearing her dead child's gemstone. The gem of the baby dragon glows in response. The princess reels back from the mirror and clutches at her heart in agony. Then we see her levitate into the air as she is surrounded by magical purple essence. In the end, she is turned into a dragon. After the transformation happens to the princess, she accidentally knocks over a whole bunch of stuff, including a lit candle, thus setting her room on fire. Whoops. Looks like Beauty has become the beast. I've never seen that done before.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
Get back, witch!
I'm not a witch. I'm your arch nemesis. But after what you just said, I don't know if I want to be that anymore.
Ugh. Sir Persevere and Speckles meet Verdis, my arch nemesis. She's the green dragon I was asking about before we started our little review.
I can't believe you would do a video without me, Striker. And a dragon one at that. If I had a heart, you just crushed it right now.
Wait, what? How is she a green dragon? Unless you mean she's some kind of human witch that can transform into a green dragon, which makes more sense.
If she really is a witch who can change her to a dragon, perhaps I can eat her when she transforms into a dragonfly.
Why a dragonfly specifically? Why not just a plain fly?
She can probably only turn into things dragon-related. You never know.
That's not how transformations work.
I know. I've seen a couple of wizards transform themselves into different animals in our world. I was just trying to intimidate this witch.
And give me a hard time to boot.
Hey, that's what friends are for.
Are all of your friends imbeciles?
No.
So you admit that only some of them are?
No. You are a sneaky, conniving lizard.
Aw, Striker, you're so sweet.
Besides, Speckles, even if she did turn into a dragonfly, you wouldn't want to eat her. The moment a wizard dies in his transformed state, he reverts back to his human self. And that would make you simply burst from a full belly.
Ha ha! Very funny!
Well, unfortunately for you, no such misfortune will happen to me if I eat you, you pathetic little lizard.
For your information, madam, I'm a salamander. What's the matter with you? Don't you know an amphibian when you see one?
Oh, really? A salamander? I could make a nice soup out of you.
I doubt it. Salamanders have toxic skin. You'd likely get indigestion if you ate me.
Oh, there are ways around that, I assure you.
Enough, Veritas. What do you want already?
I want this world, but I guess I'll start with being a part of this review with you guys for now. Besides, this review needs a woman's touch.
What? No, not gonna happen.
You're so cute when you think you have a say in the matter. Besides, this animation from the land of YouTube holds a special place in my heart as well, with me being a dragon myself.
Debatable.
So let me put it this way. Either let me join your little review, or I eat your armored friend. And his little salamander, too.
Fine.
Such a good boy.
But keep the interruptions to a minimum. It's already bad enough with Speckles' constant tangents.
Hey, it's not my fault that the artist has some questionable design tastes, as we'll eventually see later in the video.
Do not worry, my friend. The guardian of this realm will be here very shortly. Let's just play along for now, and then when the time is right, together we'll teach this arrogant witch some manners.
Very well. Let's finally get back to the review. All 4 of us.
Not so fast!
Oh, great! I know that voice anywhere.
I heard that you were doing a review, and I heard that this review needs a woman's touch. So, here I am. Who's he?
This is my friend, Striker. He's here to help me with my collaboration.
Sir Persevere? Who is she?
That would be Veritas.
What is this, Sir Persevere? Another one of your talking animal friends?
No! Am I to understand, Sir Persevere, that you went ahead and invited these 2 bozos, but you didn't invite me? Now I feel insulted.
It's a long story.
Then don't bore me with it, you patriarchal pig! What matters here is that you have a lady here, but you left me out! Me, the one character in your roster who is a female!
Well, that's not strictly true. Aveline will be debuting on this channel one of these days.
Never mind that. All I see are two interlopers sitting in my chair.
And all I see is a tiny, pathetic talking wasp that I can easily bat aside. Is she your nemesis, Sir Persevere? If this is the best you have to offer, I will crush your world with ease.
I really wish you hadn't done that, Veritas. You have no idea what you've just unleashed.
The only one who crushes this world will be me, interloper, not you.
Oh, cute. Another wasp.
I am High Mind, Queen of Social Justice Warriors, and an enforcer of authoritarian YouTube policies. Prepare to be banished from Sir Persevere's channel.
Who? What is this, Sir Persevere?
She is the nemesis of every person who dares to stand in her way. She is the striker and tyrant of YouTube itself. And you, Veritas, are now likely to face her wrath. Be gone, interloper!
Good riddance.
I'm impressed, Hive Mind. It's not every day that you do me a favor.
That was not kindness for kindness's sake, Sir Persevere. Anyone who willfully stands in my way, I will crush. Whether they be your friends or foes, I will crush them all. For Queen Hive Mind is second to none.
By the way, Hive Mind, I see that in spite of Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter, or X, you seem to be doing quite well for yourself.
What do you mean? That vicious billionaire has been an advocate for free speech. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's the U.S. Constitution and your right to free speech to stand up against my blessed gospel of wokeness. Free!
Don't play dumb with me. I know you left some agents at Twitter X that survived Elon's purge. I must say, that was a masterstroke on your part, leaving Eliza Blue at Twitter X to spark controversy among my very own Freedom faction.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to give my remaining agents some more orders. I almost destroyed Tim Pool's reputation last time. Just a little push, and I'll send him packing in disgrace. Now, excuse me.
I shudder to think where Queen Hive Mind put Veritas.
Oh, she's in the YouTube strike zone, I'm sure.
If we may return to the review, I was thinking that the princess's transformation scene reminds me of Brave with the Queen Mother turning into a bear in her bedroom. Sometimes I think that movie gets too much hate.
The parallels are striking, to be sure. And yes, I don't think Brave deserves as much criticism as many people place upon it. I generally like the story.
Most likely, this transformation is the Mara Dragon's way of getting back at the knight.
How? By having the knight die at the claws of his girlfriend, who's now a dragon?
Nice guess, but that wasn't what I was thinking, Speckles. I was thinking that the Mara Dragon would take her revenge by having the knight accidentally kill his girlfriend, thinking that she is a dragon. By the time he realizes what happened, it would be far too late. Anyway, the princess has little time to react to her predicament, as King Fergus from Brave walks into the room and screams, "Eleanor!" Okay, that didn't happen either.
Indeed, it did not. Anyway, as the Princess Dragon reels from the shock of her transformation, her lover enters the room. He only sees a dragon wearing the trinket he had given to his princess, and presumes that this dragon had killed his lady love. Not even considering that he is living in a land of magic, Not even considering that this dragon wearing the necklace might just be the princess herself under a spell, he pulls out his sword. He charges and swings his weapon at the newly created dragoness, doubtless intending to avenge the death of his princess that he loves.
Oh, so now he shows bravery and fights a full-grown dragon? What? He could have demonstrated his courage when he got the heart in the first place?
It certainly adds a little complexity to his character. Maybe he isn't as big of a coward as we originally thought. For a coward who only killed baby dragons, would have run away from a full-grown dragon. But he didn't run. Perhaps there's a little more courage to him than we gave him credit for. Anyway, she accidentally smashes a hole in the wall with her new bulk. From outside, the knights guarding the castle turn around and see what seems to be a dragon destroying the castle from the inside and setting it on fire. In a panic, the princess lifts her head and looks at the knight. He lifts his sword and prepares to slay her. Thankfully, the princess moves her head just before it can be severed. She then ducks her head, and it would seem that she accidentally struck the knight with her tail, for he is knocked against the wall. She then hightails it out of there by flying out of the castle. Wait a minute! How'd she learn how to fly so fast?
I suppose her fear and adrenaline would be the most likely explanation as to how she would be able to fly when she hadn't yet learned how to fly as a dragon before.
Adrenaline is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Oh well, I guess it's literally fight or flight in this scenario, as you guys are suggesting. Anyway, as she flies away, the prince yells vengeance at her, as everything dramatically fades to black.
It is clear that during the night, the princess dragon landed in a pasture somewhere in the mountains, for she wakes up surrounded by sheep. A particularly bold ram knocks her in the hindquarters in an attempt to shoo her away from his ewes.
Huh. Mini but mighty.
Not a smart move! If this dragon weren't actually an enchanted lady, she might have been more likely to roast him and have him for a mutton chop dinner.
One has to admire the alpha male animal who is willing to lay down his life to ensure the safety of his ladies, even if the perceived attacker is so much bigger and more powerful. However, the princess dragon leaves without much of a fuss, and the ram bleats behind her as if to say, "And stay out." Immediately afterwards, we see her trudging sadly through the rain.
This whole scene just makes me think of the Emperor's New Groove. You have a royal individual getting enchanted, being run out of the palace, hanging out with a bunch of docile farm animals, and feeling sad and pathetic in the rain.
Excellent observations, Speckles. In the midst of her misery in the rain, the princess dragon spies an old and seemingly abandoned barn in the middle of the forest. She avails herself to sleeping on the hay in the barn while the chickens overhead look down on her in curiosity.
That actually looks quite cozy if you ask me.
On the following morning, a young man wearing a wizard's hat enters the barn while carrying a bag of chicken feed. The poultry pounce on the young man and chow down on the grain.
Sir Persevere?
Yes, Speckles?
Do you remember how you said that toothpick legs are a very common design choice in this short film?
I do indeed.
Well, it seems to me that of all the characters in this short film, this young man has the most ridiculous toothpick legs.
What are those legs? He didn't just skip leg day. He skipped leg month.
How is he able to keep his balance? How is he able to walk? And how has he avoided becoming a dragon's toothpick for this long? Don't get me wrong, Carolyn has been a masterful storyteller to this point, but why on earth would she animate this poor young man to have toothpick legs?
I wish I knew why. Anyway, he sits in the hay and pulls out a book of wizardry.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but just look at those legs! How on earth is he sitting down when it looks like his toothpick legs are about to snap from the pressure of bending like that?
Well, if Carolyn is ever the kind of lady to look at reviews of her short films, perhaps she'll provide a note in our comments section stating just why she made that design choice. Because you're right, Speckles. As much as I enjoy this short film, the toothpick legs kind of pull me out of it, especially with this character. May we continue with the review?
Until such a time as I'm triggered by those crazy toothpick legs again, yes.
Anyway, he's looking at a book of sorcery while holding a twig, which I presume he wishes to use as a wand. The chickens look at him warily, doubtlessly concerned that he might try to use magic on one of them. Behind the apprentice wizard, the princess dragon awakes. Her act of yawning and stretching is quickly interpreted by the wizard as a display of aggression.
Don't you just hate it when you're minding your own business and trying to get some good reading done, and then all of a sudden a dragon interrupts you? No? I guess it's just me. And now this guy. The poor fellow is understandably startled by the presence of our adorable dragon princess, and makes a beeline out of the barn before tripping outside. Maybe if you didn't have twig legs, you wouldn't have fallen down, buddy. The princess dragon is hot on his heels, as are the chickens. He attempts to defend himself by shooting a blast of energy from his magic wand. The magic splashes off the princess dragon's necklace. The gem of the baby dragon glows, and this causes the princess dragon to smile. The princess gets her hopes up, thinking that this magic wielder can undo her curse. She sets the toothpick-legged wizard back on his feet before pointing at her necklace. She then grabs the wizard by the arm and touches his wand against her pendant. Her hopes come crashing down when the magic wand almost breaks trying to destroy the necklace.
The wand almost breaks? All I see is a leaf crumbling to dust off the magic twig. The rest of the wand didn't look like it was going to explode.
Shh! I said it for dramatic effect.
If you say so.
Now what will our poor dragon in distress do? The magic failed to cure her enchantment. She turns away from the wizard and sits dejected with the chickens. The wizard picks up his hat and book and looks upon the princess dragon with pity. He then turns his attention to the book. A second later his face brightens, as if he found a solution to her problem.
Oh, did he now?
Well, Speckles, it just so happens that the apprentice wizard's book has a page that shows the exact same location where all the dragons congregate. In fact, it's the very same inactive volcano we, the audience, saw at the very beginning of the short film.
Oh, how convenient! The book just happened to be open to the right page to solve the princess's problems.
This is a short story, Speckles. How much animation time did you want Fiddlegriff to dedicate toward the wizard laboriously flipping through pages?
Good point.
I've been falling for hours!
Well, look who finally decided to drop in. How was your banishment?
I guess time works differently in the YouTube strike zone.
I've already been humiliated by one pathetic creature. I refuse to be mocked by two more.
Surely you don't want to miss out doing a review about dragons instead of wasting time stepping on annoying salamanders like Speckles.
Hey!
Speckles, can't you see Striker is keeping her calm until the Lord Protector arrives?
I suppose so.
Very well. Only because my love for my dragon pride slightly outweighs my desire to crush my enemies like the insects they are.
That's the spirit, I guess.
Anyway, the wizard shows the princess dragon the picture of the glowing volcano we saw earlier. It makes sense that the wizards would have knowledge about the Council of Dragons and where they meet, and would have written down that kind of valuable information. The princess dragon brightens with hope, for surely the dragons would know how to reverse the curse placed upon her.
That is the most adorable face ever. Why hasn't this been turned into a popular GIF by now?
Oh, no, you don't. The only thing that's so adorable you want to die for shall only be me.
Ow! Was that really necessary?
Inflicting pain on you physically and/or emotionally when you look at other female dragons besides me is not only necessary, but my right.
Get lost, you psychopath.
I'm a high-functioning sociopath. There's a difference.
You keep strange company, Striker. And I don't think I would have cuteness overload from her smiling face.
I apologize for that disruption. Now back to the review. After giving that billion-dollar smile, she picks up her new wizard friend and throws him on her back before she starts flying over to Dragon Mountain. I'm sorry, I can't let this go. How does she know how to fly already, when she's only been a dragon for barely 2 days? Is this getting into story contrivance after story contrivance territory for Pete's sake? No, I'm not talking about Pete from Pete's Dragon, just to clarify.
Perhaps after her shot of adrenaline, her wings retain some kind of muscle memory. Maybe it's some dragon instincts hardwired into the enchantment. Frankly, I have a much bigger problem with the toothpick legs than I do with the princess being able to fly as a dragon.
I concur with Speckles on this one.
Well, I don't like it anyhow. Anyway, the mother dragon sees the princess dragon flying toward the dragon's mountain with the aid of the Palantir gem. Her face darkens with anger. She then changes her viewing screen as it now shows a mysterious new character walking through the woods. Who could this character possibly be?
Mysterious new character, my eye! It's most likely the Savage Knight who is currently tracking the dragon who killed his girlfriend.
Speckles. Just because this mystery guy has blue eyes, that doesn't mean that's the same pathetic baby dragon killer. There are plenty of people out there with blue eyes.
True, but we're both in agreement that this video is full of story contrivances in order to keep the plot going. So why would this be any exception? Besides, who else would be tracking the dragon but the lover of the princess?
Touché. The mysterious blue-eyed knight finds a piece of fabric from the princess's torn-up dress in the woods, where she recently traveled through.
Are you sure that it's a piece of her dress? I'm under the impression that he was tracking her based on her footprints and her scales that have fallen loose whenever her body rubs against a tree.
Are you kidding? The material is as pliable as cloth. Shouldn't dragon scales be as hard as iron or something?
Tell that to the baby dragon who is easily slain with a sword. If he had iron scales, it probably would have taken several blows to kill him. But it only took one blow to kill him. And we see later how easily adult dragons are hurt with swords. But we'll get to that part later. I suspect that the dragons in this story have scales no harder than a snake's. Sure, dragons like Rajon have scales far harder than iron and far more immune to weapons. But reversal of the heart isn't in my world, is it?
No. But what about the color of the material? That's the same color as her dress, isn't it?
The princess in her dragon form is also light purple like the dress. However you look at it, this material would be light purple regardless of whether it's her dress like you say, or if it's her scales like I say. But the final piece of evidence that backs my claim? If it had been a piece of her dress, he likely would have kept it as a keepsake to lovingly remember the princess by. But he didn't keep it. He tossed it away, which implies that it was the scales of, in his mind, a filthy beast that had the audacity to eat his lady love.
True. I see that this is one of those fan disagreements that cannot be easily resolved. We'll just have to agree to disagree.
Indeed, Striker. Let's get back to the knight tracking down his dragon princess. I admire the scene he is in. It's a rather beautiful forest through which he traverses. I love the contrast of yellow and orange against the dark trees and rocks.
His legs might not be toothpicks, but look at that helmet. His eyes are near the top of his head. I guess that's why they call it a frog-mouth helmet.
He's not wearing a frog-mouth helmet, but I get the joke. His eyes are situated near the top of his head like a frog. We go back to the Princess Dragon and the Wizard in their travels. They are sitting by a pond while a frog croaks by himself in the foreground. The Wizard tries out a dazzling magic spell, and both he and the Princess Dragon are enamored by the results. Suddenly, the glowing ball of magic bursts into a bunch of little pixies.
Hit the darts, so persevere!
Watch it, toothpick legs!
Well, it looks like the Wizard's hat got singed by the explosive magic.
And the magic landed on a frog, turning it into Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Stitch then turns to our two main leads and gleefully shouts, "Muda! Nala Krusta!" The Dragon Princess and young Wizard try their very hardest not to throw up in response to that vulgar language. Okay, that didn't happen either, but you can't deny that the enchanted frog has a good resemblance to Stitch.
The poor frog! I hope they fix him back to the way he was!
Don't count on it, Speckles. The little bat-eared frog then smiles a toothy demon grin and chases a butterfly.
Speckles, I told you to leave that butterfly alone. Besides, you'll have to fight that Stitch frog for it anyway.
You really are no fun! You know that, Striker?
The mutant frog then turns around and bites the Princess Dragon on the nose.
Ouch! Rude much?
She shakes off the mutant amphibian and onto the Wizard's hat. The Wizard frowns as the mutant frog settles in and makes himself comfortable atop his head.
I find it very odd that instead of eating frog legs that evening, he decides to let the Stitch frog tag along with him and the princess on their journey. Why? Because this is the required cute animal sidekick for a Disney movie. That's the closest theory I could come up with because I honestly have no idea. At least this strange frog will actually be helpful in the story later on, unlike most cute animal sidekicks. Don't worry, Speckles. You're the exception because you're not cute. Ha!
Whatever!
Let's transition to the next scene, shall we?
In the next scene, we see our heroes have now come very close to arriving at their destination. Before them looms the mountain that holds the Dragon Council. The Princess Dragon spreads her wings and flies for the mountain. But alas, they are being shadowed by the knight, who has both bow and arrows on his back. I do like the way his cape flutters in the wind. You can feel the suspense as he reaches for his weapons. He takes aim and fires his arrow. His aim is true, and the arrow slices through the Princess Dragon's wing. The scene flashes to a dark silhouette as she roars in pain. Predictably, she falls into the forest below.
And then somehow the knight just teleports to where she crash-landed. How did he get all the way from the mountain to the area where the princess crashed so quickly? Don't know.
The Princess Dragon and the Wizard, both having survived the fall, look in horror as the knight approaches. He unsheathes his sword. The Wizard fires magic at their attacker, but the knight dodges the attack before charging at them. With a swing of his sword, the knight knocks the stick out of the Wizard's hand and sends him tumbling to the ground.
I know this is a cartoon with exaggerated physics, but this feels underwhelming. It's a sword against a twig. The twig should have snapped in half, in which case the Wizard likely still would have been standing with half a twig in his hand. even if the force of the blow would have knocked back his hand. The way they animated this scene, it's almost as if the simple little twig was as strong as the sword. It just feels a bit off.
Excellent observation. Before the wizard can be further harmed by the knight, the Princess Dragon stands protectively over the wizard and roars ferociously. She snaps her head at the knight, and he slashes her face with ease. The wizard and mutant frog make their escape. While they escape, the Princess Dragon roars again, and she sounds exactly like the bear from Balto, making me wonder if the animator borrowed this sound effect.
Before we go on, I just want to admire the bravery of the princess in this scene. After spending most of the story running, or flying, from danger, she protects the man who protected her. Now that's what I call character development. Take notes, Hollywood. This is how you do a girl boss moment.
Well, it's not like Hollywood can take notes anyway. Not with all their overpaid woke writers on strike in the year of our Lord 2023.
Ha! Good one.
Thank you. The Princess Dragon breathes fire. The knight falls in the midst of the fire, which should have been the end of it.
Nice one, princess. Anyone up for some barbecue?
The Princess Dragon looks up at the wizard, who encourages her to follow him up the Dragon Mountain. As she ascends the mountainside, she looks down at the fiery knight. The flames die down, and he appears to have suffered no damage from her breath attack.
Ha! My poison gas breath would have made quick work of him if it were me instead of this mere girl.
Wait, what? Is that armor enchanted or something? Because that dragon fire would have cooked him in that armor alive, like an oven. I'll just add it to the pile of questions for this video. Boy, this pile's starting to get high.
You're right, Striker. Literal plot armor is a poor excuse for surviving dragon fire without the help of a shield. Anyway, seeing that the knight survived her breath attack, the Princess Dragon nudges the wizard forward. She slips him onto her back while the knight continues to give chase. And then, somehow, the knight leaps out from behind the curve ahead of the Princess Dragon.
Yep, Carolyn really took heavy inspiration from the Emperor's New Groove. It's just that this knight is injured and a dragon has a head start on him. This really makes no sense.
How did you get in front of us?
How did we, Kronk?
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Good stories don't typically come with perfection, my dear salamander friend. At any rate, the knight slashes his sword several times into thin air before connecting with a blow that cuts both her neck and the pendant. With a sweep of her tail, she knocks the knight clean off the mountain.
Sir, no one could have survived that fall.
Yeah, what he said. Having sustained injuries from both a fire and a fall, the knight is now surely out of the picture.
You'd think. Bleeding out and on the last of her strength, she makes it to the top of the Dragon Mountain before falling into the extinct volcano. The Dragon Council watches as she tumbles before the Palantir Gem. And then, at the top of the mountain, the knight stands alive and uninjured.
Sir Persevere, Striker, I'm a patient salamander. I'm going to do my level best to be calm before I blow my top. I can understand a man surviving a fire with burns. I can understand a man surviving a fall off a mountain. But what I don't get, and what I can't forgive, is that this knight should not be at the top of the mountain. If he's going to be alive, so be it. But if so, he should be groveling in pain with broken bones and burns at the bottom of the fountain! He should be gasping and coughing up blood and maybe dragging himself along the ground! But you cannot persuade me that he should just be brushing off his injuries as if he were the sharp tooth that fell during the earthquake in the land before time! He should not be at the top of this mountain! No way! No, sir! This is so ridiculous! The toothpick legs were bad enough, but this is the last straw!
Speckles, calm down. I agree with all your points, but the story is almost over. Please don't quit on us now. You're far too entertaining when you're angry at plot holes.
Fine, I'll stay on till the bitter end. Maybe I'll have another rant once this is over.
Thank you, Speckles. You truly are a worthy partner in my crusades.
Your sacrifice will long be remembered in the record books.
He is such a little whiner. I want to eat him so I can finally hear myself think.
Oh, no you don't, Missy.
You just want to suck the joy out of everything.
Well, at least someone agrees with me that Stryker is a killjoy. But being a killjoy isn't always bad, especially when it's to stop someone from eating a talking salamander like me, which I appreciate very much.
Nice save, Speckles. Where were we? Ah, yes. The knight inexplicably and miraculously surviving his serious injuries and looking down into the volcano. The Princess Dragon gets up and limps toward the massive blue gem. She falls before she can reach her target and is joined by the toothpick-legged wizard and the mutant frog. Closing her eyes, the Princess Dragon appears to die. The pendant falls from her neck, and the heart of the baby dragon shatters on the stony ground. With the heart of the baby dragon destroyed, the Palantir gem glows magic upon the body of the Princess Dragon. The Dragoness transforms back into her rightful human self and is cradled by the young toothpick-legged wizard.
Sadly, unlike when the beast from Beauty and the Beast turned back into a human, the fatal wound she received in her dragon form remains on her in her human form.
The mutant frog decides to lick the wound that lies just beneath the princess's neck, and the wound magically heals without even leaving behind a scar. The mutant frog smiles after having made himself useful for the first time in this story.
Oh, so now the mutant frog has the power to heal wounds just by licking them? Since when was that a thing?
It gets better. The power of his lick brings the princess back to life.
Like I said before, at least this cute animal sidekick served a purpose in the plot.
Oh, that's just dandy! What a convenient little plot device! Just use the saliva of a demon-looking frog to bring your lady back from the dead! This makes absolutely no sense! Where was the foreshadowing for this? But more to the point, this comes with major implications! They just found a way to stop people from dying! This little mutant frog is going to be in high demand throughout all the kingdom! They're going to make him produce saliva, bottle it, and then sell it to people so that they can use it to resurrect their recently deceased loved ones. But also, how on earth is the mutant little frog supposed to eat? If his saliva brings things back from the dead, that would also include the bugs he eats. His saliva would constantly heal them from all the chomp wounds he would inflict upon them. In short, I suppose this mutant frog will soon die of starvation because he won't be able to digest bugs that are constantly resurrecting in his gut and presumably passing out the other side alive and undigested. Good grief! Did Fiddlegriff not think this through? This frog has the Midas touch to its own detriment.
No arguments here.
Wait a minute. How do we even know that the princess actually died? I just took it for granted that the abomination of a toad...
Frog!
Whatever. Simply healed the princess when she was at death's door. No creature is so strong with magic that they could bring someone back from the dead. Not even I am that powerful.
Whatever.
The princess, wizard, and frog are joined by the knight. His eyes widen within his helmet as he takes in the scene before him. He drops his sword and clutches his head in guilt.
Are you sure he isn't gripping his head because of a headache? He did just go through fire and a fall. That would make me clutch my head with a headache.
Yes, I'm sure. The Dragon Council watches as the knight continues clutching his head in guilt over what he had done to the princess. And then he yanks off his helmet, revealing what we knew already. This was the man who had killed the baby dragon and given the necklace to the princess.
And he reveals that for someone who's been burned alive, he's looking pretty good. There isn't even melted flesh on his face. Good night! The physics here make no sense, and I doubt this animator was trying to go with Looney Tunes logic.
Speckles, I concede that you're right about the identity of the knight who is chasing the princess and the wizard.
Thank you, Striker.
Yeah, you're very smart. Shut up.
Well, someone woke up cranky this morning.
His perfectly immaculate face is racked with guilt. The princess looks away from the knight, justifiably ticked off at him for everything he put her through. From the dragon transformation to the deathly blows she received, it was all his fault. No one can blame her for rejecting the knight's love now. Even the knight himself doesn't blame her rejection. He closes his eyes and hangs his head in defeat. The princess then smiles at the wizard, implying that she chooses to move forward with him in romance.
Yeah, I don't think I would be quick to forgive my girlfriend after she just slashed me across the face and neck. Not a word.
The princess reaches for the shattered pendant, but is interrupted by a shadow and the flapping of wings. The mutant frog hides from the approaching shadow beneath the wizard's hat.
It is none other than the mother dragon, and vengeance is still in her heart. As she swoops in, everyone has a look of concern except for the knight, who knows his days are numbered. She walks past the trio and goes straight for him. Credit when credit is due, he remains where he is rather than attempting to flee as the mother dragon approaches him. Let me say, I absolutely love this scene. The mother dragon has a calm and regal demeanor as she approaches the knight, and only shows a look of anger when she pushes the broken gemstone towards him. It's almost like she's saying, "This was my child that you killed. Do you realize what you took from me and why you must be punished for it?" The knight actually appears penitent and submits himself to the mother dragon's wrath by bowing in submission. I can respect that at least.
The mother dragon proceeds to burn him with red fire. The princess gasps as she watches her former lover die in the flames. For though she may not be romantically inclined toward him now, she still had high regard for him, I'm sure. Silhouetted in black, the mother dragon watches as her flames do their work. In the place of the knight, a baby dragon appears. The mother dragon picks him up by the scruff of his neck and kicks aside the helmet of the dead knight. Unfurling her wings, the mother makes her departure. The princess smiles as she watches their departure, and I'm not quite sure what to make of that. Is she just genuinely relieved that everything is resolved, or is she feeling a bit sadistic?
Either way, I do not envy their long climb out of that mountain, and the long trek back to their homes.
The baby dragon looks down upon the humans as his mother carries him home. He seems dazed, and why not? You probably would be a bit dazed and confused too if you just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. With justice having been carried out, the Dragon Council disperses.
It would have been nice if one of those dragon spectators at least offered them a ride off the mountain before they all left. There it is. Why don't you give them a ride? At least off the mountain.
No, one of them is a wizard. Let him figure out how to get out of there.
And the short film ends with the princess and the toothpick-legged wizard holding hands while watching the mother dragon fly away. During the credits, we can see the mother dragon nuzzling her baby, happy to have him. And that, dear viewers, is the end of the short film, Reversal of the Heart.
And this begins our debate, Sir Persevere.
So it is, Striker.
To the viewers of this review, Sir Persevere and I represent the 50-50 split of the arguments in the comments section of Reversal of the Heart.
And what's the debate?
Whether the new baby dragon with blue eyes and a blue gemstone heart is the baby dragon from the beginning of the movie and has been resurrected, or if the new baby dragon is the knight who had been truly transformed into a baby dragon. I believe the mother dragon cast a spell in her flames to transform the prince into a baby dragon. She did it so that she could raise him as her son, to teach him the ways of dragonkind, and show they're not the mindless monsters I'm sure he thought they were. Think of this moment like a dragon version of Brother Bear, becoming the very thing you hate, only to find out a completely different side of the species, as you receive a massive humble pill.
But you have to look at this from a mother's point of view, Striker. Why would a mother dragon want to transform her child's killer into a baby dragon to replace the one she lost? In her heart of hearts, she knows that this is the man who slaughtered her baby, even if she were to pull that maneuver and transform him into a little baby dragon. Not to mention, that baby dragon isn't going to stay a baby forever. If you transform an evil human into a dragon, there's a very good chance that once that dragon grows up with the mind and soul of an evil human, he will use that power to take his vengeance, and possibly kill the mother dragon herself. No, it makes far more sense that she truly killed the knight with her flames and traded his soul to resurrect her dead child. A life for a life. Which do you think the mother would want? The killer turned into a baby dragon as a replacement? Or have her own actual child back from the dead?
While I see your side of the argument, I personally like my theory better. So let this be the final thing we agree to disagree on, my brother.
Very well, my brother.
If you don't mind, I have some concluding thoughts.
Carry on.
I know we pointed out a lot of nitpicks regarding the story, but to be fair, I noticed almost none of them in my first viewing of this animation. It's only after multiple viewings that I've noticed the many plot contrivances, and I forgive them for the sake of a short story. I absolutely love this animation, from the story, the music, the atmosphere, down to each and every character.
In fairness, this animation was created by a small independent creator. I have far more grace on a small creator with a small budget when it comes to animation style. If classic Disney had created this movie, I would want much higher quality hand animation. But for a small team, or even a single animator, this is mostly fine. Except for the toothpick legs, man. I can't get over the toothpick legs.
I love the Fantasia and the Snowman approach to this film, having no dialogue at all, and just relying on the sound effects and music to convey the emotions and tone of this story. Also, humans turning into dragons or vice versa has always been my bread and butter for storytelling, and this animation is no exception. As Sir Persevere and Speckles have pointed out numerous times in this review, I would change nothing about this video except for the toothpick leg designs. Now before I wrap up my concluding thoughts, I must bring up the gemstone hearts. They remain vague as well as they should be in this video. My personal headcanon is that each gemstone heart contains the soul of the dragon, which is very similar to the Aragon book series. In Aragon, when a dragon dies, its soul becomes a magic sphere that contains the memories, emotions, magic, and energy of said dragon. I admit it's strange, but it's a very unique take on dragons, and I commend the artist's creativity on that, especially when you consider that the heart is the foundation of the entire story, both metaphorically and literally. With all that being said, I give the Reversal of the Heart 4.5 out of 5 stars. I eagerly recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it yet, and to anyone who hasn't seen it in a long time, immerse yourselves in a beautiful animated fantasy world, where dragons roam for 12 minutes, once again.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Striker. Those were some beautiful concluding thoughts for a beautiful short film.
It's been nice to have you around, Striker. Even if you are a bit of a killjoy.
Speckles!
What? I went back through the video to grab a snack while you and Sir Persevere were talking about your thoughts.
Whatever. Well, it's been very nice, you two. But now, if you'll excuse me, I must escort my prisoner and... Wait. Where did she go?
Looking for me. Now it's time for me to clean up this dump. But first, I must remove the small opposition.
You really think you can kill me with your gas breath, Viridis? I'm still wearing my gas mask, made specifically for you, remember?
True, but your armored friend doesn't have one.
Oh, right. So Persevere, look out!
Oh my goodness!
Who dares rob me of my kill?
I do, little one. I see it every time whenever I confront an evil dragon like yourself. All that power at your disposal, and you choose to abuse it to your own ends. And in the end, those who abuse power are prone to cowardice. Face my wrath if you dare. But leave my friends alone and bully them not. Wait, is she actually a dragon? Not simply a human enchantress pretending to be a dragon?
Indeed, Sir Persevere. Some dragons in other universes have the ability to shapeshift into human-like creatures unlike in our world. You might have noticed that yourself if you had paid attention to her ears.
Her pointy ears?
She was pretending to be an elf, of which there are none in our world. But more to the point, dragons have pointed ears, a trait that she could not conceal in her human form. And did you not notice her eyes? Human enchanters who turn into dragons in our world do not possess reptilian eyes upon returning to human form.
I should have paid better attention. Thank you for enlightening me, sir.
A red dragon? Whatever that little blue knight is paying you, oh great red one, I'll double it. And all you have to do is step aside.
Trifle me not with your trinkets. Although my treasure house of pottery is considerable, I am not like the red dragons from your realm who care only for their vast hoards and great reputation. I do not defend my friend and student from the likes of you for mere trinkets and baubles. I defend him and everyone else in this entire realm because it is my honor and duty as Lord Protector of all dragons. And you are not welcome here.
Your love for the humans is a weakness. Humans are pathetic and weak. And anyone who stands by them as a guardian is also pathetic and weak.
And yet you choose to spend the majority of your life walking around and looking like one rather than embracing your true self as a dragon. Who is the real pathetic and weak creature? Return from whence you came, little one, or I shall physically assist you out the door. I shall count to 3.
Ha! You think you can intimidate me?
1,
I'm not leaving without my striker at least.
2,
Fine! I'm leaving. But not because you told me to. It's because I didn't want this disgusting world after all. I'll be waiting for you on the other side, Striker. You and I both know you can't stay here forever.
I'll be ready for anything you throw my way when I return.
I'll make you eat those words. See you soon.
Well, this was not at all how I wanted our first review to go down. I sincerely apologize for everything, especially almost getting you and Speckles killed.
It's perfectly fine, my friend. Our first review went very well besides a few interruptions, in my opinion. Besides, Speckles and I were never in any danger with Rajon around. This Veritas, however, is a very interesting arch-nemesis of yours. I wish you the best in capturing her. If you need any help in capturing her, I'm more than happy to lend you aid.
Thank you, my friend. I'll keep that in mind. This whole experience with you and Speckles, and now Rajon, has been an absolute blast. But I better catch Veritas on the other side of that portal before she completely slips through my fingers again.
Hold on! Are we just going to ignore the fact that Veritas was acting very strange before she finally left?
She was most likely spooked by Rajon. Who wouldn't be when he was using his stern voice?
No. I meant what she said. I'm not leaving without my striker at least. What on Hatray was that about?
Is it not obvious, Speckles? Striker's arch-nemesis has developed a crush on him.
What? How? But she's a dragon! You said so yourself! Dragons don't fall in love with humans on Hatray! It's not natural!
Were you aware of this, Striker?
Oh, would you look at the time? I better get going. Bye, everyone. See ya!
Your friend Striker is a good sort, Sir Persevere. As for Veritas, what possessed her to think she could ever conquer this world? There are far too many good dragons who would have opposed her.
Maybe she was planning on using her human form to take charge of Taysor, a form of political sabotage, perhaps.
Perhaps. But her eyes and ears would quickly rat her out. Even if you, Sir Persevere, would not have paid attention, others would have. Her plans would have ultimately failed, at least on Hatray. But now I shall take my leave. There is much to do, and Torrentia will be wanting my help in watching after our visiting grandchildren before we go and attend to the affairs of our fellow dragons. Farewell, Sir Persevere. Farewell, Speckles.
Farewell, Rajon! Well, now it looks like it's just you and me again, Sir Persevere. If I recall correctly, there was an announcement you wished to make.
Indeed, Speckles. I shall announce the project now. Given the life changes going on with the Nerdy Knight, I am sad to say that the video uploads to this channel will be less frequent.
Alas, that is a sad announcement.
However, we will not abandon this channel. And to make up for the fact that there won't be regular uploads going forward, we will work on a big project that we can work at our leisure over the course of a given year. And perhaps we can do this project over the course of several episodes. And our next project will finally be a review of our favorite animated movie of all time.
You don't mean to say...
Yes, Speckles. We are finally going to review the one and only 1994 film, The Swan Princess.
Oh, joy! Huzzah! Surely we'll finally bring in Aveline and Clinge on the Tessahorns to help us out with that review.
Indeed we will, Speckles. Indeed we will. To our gracious audience watching this video, I hope you enjoy this collaboration between Time Travel Master, I'm a Shadow 007, and myself. Perhaps we'll do future collaborations, either with Time Travel Master or other folks. But only time will tell. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with your friends. And now, my friends, go forth, be gracious to everyone, and may God bless you.
Bye, everyone!
Boss, you're back! Look who I found running out of that portal with her tail between her legs. I was merely portal sick, nothing else.
No offense to Lacerda's skills, but you and I both know very well you let yourself get captured, Veritas. What I want to know is, why?
Heh. I want a job.
Huh?
You heard me. A job. Your secretary, specifically.
You can't be serious.
Why not? I'm organized, I'm incredible at bookkeeping, and I can keep track of all the missions you need to go on. Not to mention, I can deal with your clients so you don't have valuable time on missions taken away from you. I'm also very good at torture if you need that down the road. Oh, now that could come in handy.
What are you doing, Lacerda? Don't encourage her by entertaining her ridiculous idea.
But think about it, boss. Not only will we have an actual dragon with us in and out of missions, I won't have to do paperwork ever again!
After everything she's done, we are just going to trust and take in this 1,027-year-old egotistical, homicidal, conniving, and vain dragon.
Hey, trust the devils you know, right? Think of it this way, boss. Instead of throwing her in our prison to rot for the rest of her extended life, we're giving her indefinite community service. She'll be a big asset to us, and we'll always be there to keep an eye on her and make sure she behaves herself. Does that sound good?
No, but I know you won't listen to me anyway. So, I'll go along with this trial run for now.
Yay! No more paperwork for me! I look forward to working together and getting to know each other better.
Lord have mercy on me. What have I gotten myself into?